What's going on YouTube? It's your boy Peacemaker back with another video for y'all. Welcome to my channel, B.K.W.R. If you're not familiar with what that means, it stands for Big Kids with Responsibilities. But let's get right into the video. The purpose for this video here was to address a comment that was made in one of my previous videos called the double bubble. Now, the ship that I use in that video, I actually named the Outcome. And the Outcome was built to initially deal with the sharpshooter builds that came out in season 4 due to their overpowered status. And with this ship here, I was able to actually kind of balance out that scale quite a bit. But the comment that was made was that basically I did not post the build in its entirety, and I wanted to correct that. Now, technically, since I'm not technically reposting the same content, but I kind of am, I'm not going to name it the double bubble. I'm actually just going to call it the water boy build. So let's get right into the build. Don't want to run it up too long. Now, first things first. Let's start with the ship. And you definitely want to go with the brigantine. And I'm going to explain why. Now, the perks of this ship, underneath where it says Bullhorn, this ship here increases damage from ramming by 45% and gains an additional speed while pursuing an enemy ship within 300 meters, which is nice. But that's not what we want to focus on. What we want to focus on is what it says next. And then what it says next is increase flooding weapon damage by 20%. And deals 20% more weapon damage to flooded targets. Now, essentially what I got from that, meaning if I'm running the brigantine and I'm running flood weapons, I'm going to get a 20% damage increase automatically by running a flood weapon. I'm going to get an additional 20% damage increase once I apply a flood status effect to that ship. So overall, you're looking at a 40% damage increase just off the basics, which is pretty nice starting off. So let's get into the next step that you're going to need to complete this build. I'm going to start with the armor, then I'm going to go into the furniture, then I'm going to the weapons. Let's go and start with the armor. Now, for you to be the most effective with this build, you're going to need their mortar vessel. And let me explain why. The perks of this hull here is going to prevent a killing blow from sinking this ship. And this ship becomes invulnerable for 6 seconds. Now, if you play the game, 6 seconds is a pretty decent sized window for you to turn the tide in your favor, whether it's getting a med kit off, getting away from the enemy, or even getting damage off while not taking damage. There's a lot you can do in that 6 seconds that can actually work in your favor. Now let's get into where it gets pretty interesting in my opinion. Now, if you remember at the beginning when I was describing the brigantine, we're already looking at a 40% damage increase with flood weapons. So I'm going to explain this slot by slot to the best of my ability. Now, furniture slot 1, I'm actually running the Mutants Mixer. This furniture here is going to increase duration of flood and a blaze effect applied to enemy ships by 100%, which is really, really nice. But reduces the damage dealt from these effects by 30%. So overall, at the start, we already get a 40% damage increase. Now we're going to lose 30%. That puts us at a 10% damage increase. Now in the rest of these furniture slots, we're going to try to counter that. So follow me on this. Let's get into furniture slot 2. Now furniture slot 2, I'm running Bombard Works 1, which is going to increase secondary damage of bombards by 19%. Obviously, by me running Bombard Works 1, you already know I'm probably gonna run bombards for my weapons, and I'll explain that once we get to that point. But overall, we start off at 40, we lost 30, then we gained 19% damage. Let's get into furniture slot 3. I kind of went off the rail just a little bit, but like when I'm creating these builds, I just start creating. It's a free flow. So for furniture slot 3, I'm running the maintenance forge 1, which restores 1% severe damage per second while out of combat. Ever since I did the build for B.K.W.R, I've been running this on quite a bit of my builds, and it's been coming in like really clutch. Because if you can't keep that severe damage off of you, you can't stay in the fight. So let's get into furniture slot 4, which is Bombard Reserve 1. This furniture is going to increase bombard damage by 10%, increase damage to structures by 8%, increase repair amount from repair weapons by 5%. Now, we're not really too worried about the structure and the repair weapons since that's not what we're focused on. The main thing you want to focus on is the increased bombard damage by 10%. Now, again, we started at 40, we lost 30 with the Mutants Mixer. We gained another 19 with the Bombard Works 1, and then we're getting an additional 10% with the Bombard Missouri 1. Follow me. Let's go into slot number 5, which is the Shell Packing Station. This here is going to increase the area of effect radius of bombard weapons by 7%. Not only that, it's going to reduce the reload time of bombard weapons by 7%, which is really nice. So not only am I increasing the area that I'm affecting with my flood weapon, I'm also reducing the load time of that weapon. It's really hard to beat that furniture. You can run it without it, but the additional reload is going to build that flood charge a lot quicker. Now for my furniture slot 6, I'm actually running the expanding corkscrew station, which is going to increase secondary damage of flow weapons by 15%. It's also going to increase the maximum range of flow weapons by 8%. Now, hear me out. This is my conclusion. I could be wrong. I could be losing it. Hopefully I'm not. We started at a 40% overall damage increase. We lost 30 with the Mutants Mixer. We gained 19 from the Bombard Works 1. Then we got another 10% damage increase from the Bombard Works Missouri 1. And in addition to that, we also get an additional 15% damage from the expanding corkscrew station. So overall, even though we lost that 30%, we made up for it with the rest of the furniture slots to a total of 54% damage increase with flow weapons, which is pretty nice, dude. I mean, that's what I came up with. At least that was my way of thinking when I was building it. Now let's make this deal even sweeter by getting into the weapon. The only weapon you're gonna need is the 1,000-Year Monsoon. When I say this weapon here is gonna ruin people's day, it's gonna ruin people's day. And the reason I went with this ship, mainly because of the perks that it has. Obviously, as you can see, it does level 2 flooding, also gives off level 1 explosion. But the main perk you want to focus on is this weapon here has a 15% chance of dealing 2,500 severe damage. That's without the flood status effect. This, now follow me. I messed up. Anyways, you get a 15% of doing 2,500 damage without the target having a flood status effect on them. Now it says this chance increases to 30% when the target ship has the flood status effect. So not only are you doing nasty amounts of damage with the furniture that you have, the weapon in itself has a chance to cause quite a bit of damage itself. In addition to the perks that the Brigantine has for the flood weapons. Now, lastly, to actually finish off this Waterboy build, you're going to need the Light Keeper. And the perks of it is going to deploy a buoy that creates a protective dome that is weak against piercing damage. Which, from what I've seen, the torpedoes that came out with the Smuggler's Pass are the only thing that penetrates it, as far as I can tell, and the Band of Ten Suns, I think. But overall, most weapons do not penetrate this protective dome that you're going to be having on you. So you're going to have the Light Keeper, and you're going to have the Immortal Vessel protecting you. In addition to that, you're also going to have that 54% damage increase from the flood weapons that you can project outside of the dome. I mean, try it out, y'all. Let me know what you think. I do have some gameplay from a takeover, doing another test run with this build. Hopefully y'all enjoyed the information I put out there. Try it out. Let me know what you think, and I'll see y'all in the next video.